Alrighty, we are back again for episode 5 of For Better or For Worse, and today we are going to be going over the basics of chipping. Okay, so nothing special, no kind of crazy finesse shots, but just the very standards of setting up for a basic chip shot when we don't have really any trouble in front of us and have plenty of green to work with. So we are going to go ahead and get warmed up a little bit and then go into the basics of chipping.
Okay, sounds good.
So our basic chip shot is going to have a few main components that we want to pay attention to. Number one being our weight distribution. Okay, so if we're hitting a basic chip shot, I want to think about having the majority of our weight up here on our front side. So we're going to think about, 70%, even 80% as you're getting started on this front side to ensure that we can catch the golf ball first with our club and then catch the turf. So number one thing that we want to pay attention to is making sure that we have about 70 to 80% of our weight on this front foot. Second thing that I want to pay attention to is our ball position. Okay, so with our ball position, I want to think about that ball position being on an imaginary logo on that rear side. Okay, so not an imaginary logo on our front side or our hole facing side, but on our trail side here. So that ball is going to be back from center. All right, and we have about 70 to 75% of our weight up on this front side. Okay, good. Now, the only other thing that we really want to focus on is hitting this like a putting stroke. Okay, so I want to set up a little bit closer to the golf ball. Good. And we can see how we've got our hands pressed forward just a little bit here. I want to feel like our hands are kind of covering the golf ball. Okay, so I don't want those hands to be way up forward here. I also don't want the hands to be back here. I just want to feel like they're comfortable covering that golf ball. All right.
Okay, what do you mean by covering the golf ball?
So if you're looking straight down from here, your hands should be covering the golf ball.
Covering like...
Nope. So just in relative forward, over, behind, they should be over the golf ball. Not out here, obviously,
No.
but they're just going to be even with the golf ball.
Okay.
Now, do you feel how you're catching the ground or hitting the ground before the golf ball?
A little bit.
So, can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, so our goal here is to catch the golf ball first, right? So if we're hitting the ground first, what is that telling us about our weight distribution?
Too far back.
Too far back. Okay, so that has been a common theme where you've been catching ground first. Okay, you answered the question right away. So now let's make the adjustment.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
You feel the difference there?
Yes.
Okay, could you hear the difference?
I could hear more than I could feel it.
Okay.
Yes, I should say.
Okay, so let's pay attention then to try to tie those sounds back to feels as well. Okay, because of what you're used to with your tendencies on, growing up playing piano and other instruments, you have an ear for things, and so you may hear things before you feel them. And so we need to try to tie that back to grasping what a good sound feels like.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we don't want to think about our body going here to lift that ball up in the air. Again, we're just doing a basic chip shot that we don't have to get it super elevated or anything. So we want to think about our body being very stable, okay? And at this point, at the golf ball, we're trying to let that club just kind of drop past our hands.
Okay.
Okay, so that club is kind of dropping past the hands. Notice my body is turning, but I'm not dropping behind the golf ball. So that body is going to stay covering that ball position instead of diving forward or what you're doing, dropping back behind.
Okay, so let me try it just without
Yeah.
getting on here.
Good. Okay, stabilize that body when you take the club away.
Okay.
Okay, what's going on with your grip? Because right now I can see this thumb coming out from under here. Is that how we grip the club?
I don't think so.
Never.
Maybe like that?
Never.
Okay.
Relax. Couple basic principles. We've got that 75% or so of our weight on that front foot, and we want to feel like that ball position is just back of center, and then we want to feel like those hands are covering that golf ball.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and try and chip one here. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, could you feel the difference there? Could you hear the difference?
Yeah.